China unexpectedly found two treasures after spending $30 million to buy back Australia's old aircraft carrier. China purchased the hull of an old ship for $30 million, opened the hatch, and discovered two treasures. Australia and the United States regretted it. So, what's the truth behind the story? Let's find out in today's video. In the early days, China faced discrimination and technological blockades from Western countries. To elevate China's manufacturing and weapon industries, the country decided to purchase an abandoned aircraft carrier from Australia. Surprisingly, Australia was thrilled to hear the news. This deal seemed exceptionally beneficial for Australia at the time because they were actively seeking trustworthy partners, hoping to dispose the aircraft carrier. Unfortunately, every country worldwide recognized the abandoned aircraft carrier as a challenging issue, and none were willing to accept it. China boldly stepped forward, expressing its willingness to take on the burden, and offering to pay $30 million for the aircraft carrier. Australia promptly signed the contract, emphasizing that the transaction would be final with no possibility of return or exchange. What could be the reason behind Australia's joy in selling the aircraft carrier for $30 million? And why is China willing to invest such a significant amount in an aircraft carrier that no other nation is willing to acquire? As for Australia, do they genuinely have no regrets about this decision? The abandoned aircraft carrier we are discussing today is the HMAS Melbourne R21, which China purchased from Australia for $30 million in 1984. Originally acquired from England at a friendly price by Australia during World War II, the US aircraft carrier fleet demonstrated immense power on the Pacific battlefield, rendering the Japanese almost powerless to fight back. This showcased the world that the future of naval warfare lay in aircraft carriers, not battleships equipped with giant ship cannons. In 1943, the Armstrong Shipyard initiated construction, completing the manufacturing of this aircraft carrier in just 2 years by the end of February 1945. Because it was no longer necessary in the large post-war troop withdrawal. Concurrently, the British economy was experiencing a downturn, and the aircraft carrier, a product of considerable effort, couldn't be left unused. Consequently, the idea of selling this aircraft carrier arose. After much deliberation, Britain decided to put it up for sale. However, finding a buyer proved challenging. On one hand, Australia is a member of the Commonwealth and is independent from the United Kingdom. On the other hand, Australian Navy ranked second only to the United Kingdom and the United States in strength at that time. For certain political reasons, Britain, not wanting Australia to align with the US military, sold an aircraft carrier to Australia for only £10. The condition was that Australia must purchase British equipment. Australia acquired the aircraft carrier in 1949 and renamed it Melbourne. The Australian Navy believed that by possessing this aircraft carrier, their coastal defense capabilities would significantly improve. They equipped the Melbourne with the most advanced weapons and equipment, anticipating its future performance. However, they did not anticipate that in the days to come, this aircraft carrier would not only fail to bring security but also lead to many disasters. Throughout its tenure, this aircraft carrier was deployed overseas 35 times, visiting 22 countries, and considered an invaluable material and spiritual gift to the Royal Australian Navy. The aircraft carrier Melbourne never had to fire a shot in anger during its launchings. It did not engage in combat, even during the tense confrontation between Indonesia and Malaysia, or in the Vietnam War. However, it was involved in two major collisions with Allied ships. On the night of February 10, 1964, Melbourne collided and sank the HMAS Voyager. When this daring-class destroyer suddenly changed its course, 82 sailors on the Voyager lost their lives, and two royal commissions were initiated to investigate the incident. The second collision occurred in the early morning of June 3, 1969. Melbourne collided again, sinking the USS Frank E. Evans, a U.S. Allen M. Summer-class destroyer. Under similar circumstances, 74 U.S. Navy sailors perished. A joint investigation commission between the USN and RAN was established to clarify the matter. Incidents like this, along with other few minor collisions, caused some parts of the ship to sustain light damage. After numerous controversies, Melbourne was returned to the RAN in 1982. There was a proposal to transform Melbourne from an aircraft carrier into a floating casino. However, this idea was not approved. From its arrival in Australia in 1956 until 1979, the Melbourne did not undertake much significant work and caused numerous issues, even making Australia the laughingstock of the world. After learning from these challenges, the Australian military issued a statement in 1982, officially announcing the retirement of the Melbourne. This marked the conclusion of the legendary aircraft carrier's service career. Although the Australian government was aware of Melbourne's extremely tarnished reputation globally, they still decided to sell it, aiming to make a little money. Of course, after the news was released, the Australian military removed all weapons and equipment from the aircraft carrier. However, given the glorious deeds of the Melbourne, no one was willing to buy that unlucky charm. But at this time, China unexpectedly stepped forward, showing a strong interest in the Melbourne. China's move was neither a whim or a hasty decision. Not only were Western countries surprised, but many people within the country also found it difficult to understand. However, the Melbourne did not meet China's expectation for the $30 million spent. At that time, China did not possess an aircraft carrier, so despite the Melbourne lacking equipment, its overall structure was sufficient, nor the Chinese to comprehend the design and composition of an aircraft carrier. After the Melbourne arrived in China, it quickly entered the dismantling process. Unexpectedly, a surprising situation occurred. The steam catapult and arresting cable equipment on the aircraft carrier were still on board. This was undoubtedly a treasure-like discovery for China. You must know that a steam catapult was the only aircraft catapult used on aircraft carriers after World War II, until the birth of the American Ford-class aircraft carrier, which introduced electromagnetic catapults. Only the United States had installed them at that time. Even Australia needed to seek the United States to install steam catapults. Such a finished product was undoubtedly a huge gain for China. There was also the arresting cable equipment, which should not be underestimated. Originally, the production of arresting cables have been blocked by foreign technology. At the time, China did not have relevant technologies, and later, China spent a lot of time and energy on research and development of arresting cables. One reason was the arresting cable was necessity for the aircraft carrier, and only with it could the fighter jets land safely on the ship. The second reason was that its technology was indeed advanced, and it was not easy to break through. The discovery of these two valuable devices was a real surprise for China. It was only at the time that the United States realized that Australia, a misguided ally, had forgotten to remove these two things in a hurry. So when China later purchased the Varyag from Ukraine, the United States repeatedly ordered Ukraine to dismantle all the equipment before selling it. The value provided by the Melbourne to China is not the only two sets of devices, but also allows Chinese engineers to learn the construction structure of the aircraft carrier. It is precisely because of the thorough study of the Melbourne that China has laid an indispensable foundation for the later modification of the Variag and the construction of the Shandong ship. Do you think the $30 million is worth it? Today's program concludes here. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel. Stay updated on more fantastic content. Goodbye and see you on the next videos.